have FOMC meeting, and Jerome Powell cut the rate by 0.25. That's the lowest what the Fed chairman can cut the rate. And actually markets started to expect 0.5 two cuts, and it didn't happen. And on those news, markets actually corrected, and there was more pessimistic view on the market because of that. And if we look, we're gonna look at the Bitcoin price, and we will see how during the day the Bitcoin actually went down below $110,000, and we had a little bit of a spike up to 115. But this is the time when the year is getting over. We're in Q4. Everyone was expecting and prophesying an alt season. The alt season is not happening. At least we are finishing October right now, and there is no alt season. The government is shut down. There are lots of things that are happening. However, in December there will be another cut. Yet Jerome said that it's still under question whether we're going to have it. So let's first look at the charts and do a quick TA, and then we will look at what's been happening this week. So first, as usual, we're looking at Bitcoin, and let me show you how it was reacting today to do the rate cuts. We started the day and it was 113, and then it dropped. It dropped all the way to 107. That's 107,900. So that's how low it went, and now it's rebounding. That's the pessimistic view that I was telling you about, because there are lots of data that came out from the Federal Reserve, from the labor of statistics. The inflation is not there where they want it to be, and the economy is actually doing pretty well. The inflation didn't go as much as they were expecting, and it shows that the economy is still pretty hot, and they don't need to cut the rate that fast. So that's Bitcoin. However, that was what happening during the day. And if we zoom out a little bit and go into the higher time frame on the daily chart, you can see, let's go even more on the weekly chart. Because if you're in doubt, just zoom out, and we can see that Bitcoin is clearly ranging between the old established lower bound, the support level of 108, and the higher range would be 119, 10700. So let's say 120, because we had this breakout that was a fake breakout and it didn't actually pan out. So the fact that we are still ranging that's the first piece of information. So Jerome Powell cuts the rates. The politics of Federal Reserve still a little bit hawkish. They're not very dovish. They always use those two terms. Hawkish means that they are more aggressive, they more likely to do quantitative tightening, and dovish is more soft, and they're more likely to do quantitative easing. And the reason why they do hawkish and dovish is because they analyze the speech, and because Jerome Powell himself, he cannot just come out and say economy is super hot, we're gonna raise the rate. It's gonna throw the markets in a tumble, and they will just collapse, and will end up, the New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq will end up shutting down trading, because if it's too volatile for the market, they shut down they have the circuit breakers, so to speak, if it's too volatile. So he cannot say exactly what they're going to do, what's actually happening, what's in their mind. They just kind of can have to hint here and there, and that's why we have dovish and hawkish terms to analyze their speech. Bitcoin is ranging, and let's look at the fear and greed index. What's fascinating is we are in the fear territory. Even though Bitcoin is ranging, even though Jerome Powell cuts the rate, which is good for the market, for the risky assets, the crypto and people who participate in crypto, because this fear and greed index is a combination of many things. I believe there is like 7 parts of the fear and greed index that CoinMarketCap calculates. There is another one from CoinGlass, but I like this one more because it's less volatile. We are still in a fear territory, which means people are beyond scared for their crypto. They think that more likely it's going to go down below $100,000. And if we go to below $100,000, then the first steps would be, it's just write this box, which is 98 to 94. And if Bitcoin even goes below 100K, it's such a important psychological level that people will freak out, and that's what will cause a massive sell-off, big volume. But there are just too many institutional players now in the market who are participating. We have the investment funds who are buying Bitcoin. We have the investment banks who are doing that, BlackRock's. Then we have the ETFs, the Bitcoin ETFs, who are also buying, which is actually the same retail, but you can have you can participate in the ETF if you have, for example, a pension fund, or you have Roth IRA. We will talk about Roth IRA and not one more time later today. But you have this additional buying pressure, and we have Michael Saylor who will continue to buy no matter what. On top of all of that, we also have treasury companies who buy Bitcoin and issue debt. The Michael Saylors, the similar to MicroStrategy companies. So all of them, they are just continuing buying, and they're not gonna immediately sell when the market goes under a certain price. So that causes Bitcoin stabilize more and not be as volatile, because it's now entered into a mature asset territory where it's not affected by the small fluctuations. It's not easily manipulated anymore, because you need billions of dollars now to change the price to go out of the range. For example, to go out of this existing range, 109 or 120, that's where the billions of dollars need to come in. That's Bitcoin. Let's go into ETH. ETH is looking worse than Bitcoin, and that's your fear and greed index at play. People are fearful for what's going to happen with crypto. They don't see Bitcoin breaking above 120, and with each new swing in the lower, they get more scared. And if they don't see that Bitcoin going to 150, then all the altcoins, they're just more depressed. And so far, we don't see any trends for whales selling their Bitcoin and rotating those profits into the altcoins. This is the narrative of the 4-year cycle. This is the narrative of alt season in general, is that the big whales, the big participants who control, so to speak, the market, or they control the supply, it's just 80% of any assets usually belong to the big players. Just like the airline business, the business section pays off for 85% of the cost of that flight, but they occupy only 20% of the space in the cabin. Same for the crypto, same for the alt season. Bitcoin is not breaking through. That means depression for all the altcoins, and we can see it on the Ethereum chart. The swings on Ethereum are lower, not like in Bitcoin, and the range is just, we are kind of in the middle for the range for Bitcoin, but for Ethereum we are closer to the lower bound of that range. And unfortunately we didn't have the breakout above 4,200 in this area. And whenever there is lack of breakout and we are in a general downtrend, you can see that this is a downtrend. If there is a no breakout, that's a weakness sign. That's just gives a more confirmation to bears to bid lower, and that's why we have another swing on the lower side. But once it reaches this level, and this is a clear level again, let's go on the weekly, and this is the clear level. Let's draw a box here. This is a clear level for Ethereum, and that's a support. We bounced from it. We closed multiple weeks above this level, and this week might be different, but as long as we stay in the range, we are still good, I would say. But if we go on the lower time frame and we're on a daily, we can kind of see that we had lower low right here with this October 10 biggest liquidation event, and there is definitely lower highs. So the price action right now, the structure is a wedge. And because we are bouncing on the support line, it sounds and seems bearish. If we had a price action that more resembled bouncing from the support, from the resistance line at the top, like this, so same level highs but higher lows, that will be more of a bullish sign and price structure. But right now it's just constantly we're losing those upper grounds, and the chances of going lower, they increase, but just slightly, because again, each time we don't break the support line, that's also bullish. The bears had the chance multiple times at this point. They had time right here, 1, 2, 3, and now 4 times they tried to took out this. You can even I wouldn't count this one because we immediately went back into the range for this. So whenever we go back, and that's a false breakout. So ETH is ranging, and again, because we have for Ethereum same situation just like with Bitcoin, we have ETFs, we have the treasury companies, we have the what's his name, but his last name is Lee, he was a Michael Saylor of Ethereum, and he also established the digital asset treasury company, and he continues buying Ethereum. So that's ETH, and let's go even lower. For meme coins, it's important, and just for altcoins in general is of course Solana, because Ethereum is now kind of one leg in the blue chips, one leg in the altcoins. So that's crypto, that's capitalization, and we will just look at the regular price chart. And Ethereum is doing, it's also ranging, right? So after the October 10 event, the lowest it went was 177. The next day it went even lower, 173, but it recovered, and right now we feel the whole week that happened in October 10. So the week was from 188 to 177, and we filled it, which is great. It means that there is no more space to go down. Because usually in trading, whenever there is a week, let's go back in history, whenever there is a week, that week gets filled. So you can see here, there was a week, and a little bit later, we crashed down. This week I will not count because it didn't go from the market structure of going down. These kind of weeks, they are the signs of complete capitulation. This week, for example, we see that market recovered, and then it started to go back up. The market recovered, ranged a little bit, but then it still gravitated lower because there was some event, look at that volume, that triggered the price to go that much lower. So now the market has a tendency to gravitate to fill that week. So that's Solana. Solana is ranging, and let's check the weekly chart again to make sure. Yeah, so our box, we're still bouncing from that box. The week of this week is, no pun intended, is it bounced exactly off of this box, and so far we're in the range. However, even on the weekly chart, you can see that we slowly starting to, if we draw a trend line, we have a clear trend line right now, and that acts as a support. A little astronomy for men, it's never bad. So this is the range. This is the range that we're in right now. And usually when there is 2 touches on any range, that makes the third touch very weak. So if we had, this is the first touch, this is the second touch of the resistance line, this is the first, second, you can count this one third, and this is the fourth touch of the support line. That generally is bearish, because the next time we touch, or maybe even on the next candle that we have here, because yeah, October is over, but that might be the new November, the first week. Everyone is getting very excited about the alt season, but again, alt season is not happening with this environment. Money is still super expensive with 4% FOMC rate, refinance rate. The money is still super expensive. You need cheap money to fuel the boom and bust cycles. You need cheap money that will flow into the risky assets like tech stocks and crypto. So that is Solana. 195. So the whole week we are ranging in this, just playing around with this 200 level, and previous week it was lower, went as low as 180. But overall, Solana is an amazing asset to have. Even if it goes down 50%, it's still a very good play because it's not going to go to zero. Ethereum not going to go to zero. Solana doesn't go to zero. Ripple is not going to zero. Everyone else still, it's not decided who's going to be number 5, number 6, number 7. Maybe Zcash now might be one of those top 5. But because this is the narrative, because we have Solana so integrated in the financial markets, it slowly becomes more stable. And the more DeFi projects we have on Solana, because DeFi is better in the long run than gambling infrastructure like centralized and decentralized exchanges, because all the exchanges do, they just promote gambling on chain. But if you have DeFi projects and protocols, they lock the supply, they lock the assets, and their whole goal is to collect more assets. So their total value locked increases, and that also stabilizes the chain overall. So this is Solana. And let's go into our first news would be, so let's couple words about the Fear and Greed Index. This is very clear right now that we are in a buy territory. This is buy. Right now, it's the buyer market. If you have any money, you should, not financial advice, put it all in crypto, because this is a very rare opportunity. We can look at all the time when the Fear and Greed Index was tracked. We were in this territory very few days. It a little bit happened at the September 2024, and then second time it happened in April in 2025, and right now we're third time in this territory. And generally you can see that most of this chart is either in neutral or in greed, and some of it in extreme greed territory. And this sentiment is more important because you can trade off of this chart. This chart calculates many things, how people think, what they think about the market. It's less of a technical, because all the technical aspects, like the volume, all the indicators, all of them, they are already included into the high frequency bots, and you cannot have any edge there. But with the Fear and Greed Index, it's more of a feely and vibes type of thing. So you kind of might have a gut feeling. If you open your Twitter and everyone is super ecstatic and optimistic, and everyone's saying Ethereum is to 10K and Bitcoin is to 150, that's when you sell, because you can gauge. No algorithm out there of high frequency traders of Wintermute, they cannot gauge the timeline. They cannot gauge whether your relative gonna ask you at your Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner financial advice. Oh, what meme coin should I buy? If they are asking that, that's a sell signal. That means the general public already in there. It means the market is red hot. So right now we're at 34. And again, that shows you that negative sentiment, because Jerome cut the rate, but nothing actually went up, and Bitcoin even corrected below $110,000, and Fear and Greed Index corrected together with Bitcoin. And we just slightly, we were in the neutral territory, and we entered back into the greed. And this is good time to buy, because there is a big chance that we are not going to lower. We're not going lower on this crypto Fear and Greed Index. It's very unlikely, in my opinion, that we going into the extreme fear, simply because there is some laws on physics, but in general, we were coming from extreme greed in this time. That was the Trump elections, and when you go from the higher you go, the lower you fall. That's very simple. And unfortunately, how stupid it sounds, but we can apply this into trading and into these indexes and into these charts, because we love astronomy, right? This, not astronomy, I keep saying astronomy, but it's astrology. So because we were in extreme fear, in extreme greed, we fell into extreme fear. Now this situation is different. We are not pumping super hard for Bitcoin, and we didn't go into the extreme greed, and we're just kind of ranging since the that would be July this month, this year. We're ranging for Bitcoin, and the fear and greed index is just slowly going lower, lower, and lower, because people are getting fearful why Bitcoin is not breaking out of the range. But Bitcoin don't have to break out of the range. And the reason we already in the fear territory, people are both almost panicking, being afraid for their money, probably selling, but that's exactly when you buy. Bitcoin can continue range, can fall a little bit into 96, 95 territory. We will peak then into the extreme fear, and that's when you definitely go and buy. There was no major collapse, there is slowly more money is gonna come into the system. Jerome is going to cut the rate in December, most likely, because we have unemployment's rising. We have Jerome leaving in May, when Trump will actually appoint a new head of Federal Reserve. And he will definitely appoint some nuts who will just take Trump. Trump has very good team players in his administration. Everyone loves him, everyone praises him, he loves them and he praises them in return. But he definitely going to choose someone who will be on the same page with him, and he would want to cut the rate as fast as possible, so that the economy can start booming and Trump can finish. Trump will go into the midterms with a clear, strong economy, because he'd been telling us when he was about to get elected how we're gonna get tired of winning. And I'm frankly, myself, I'm tired of winning. This 2025 was just win after win after win for me. And 2026 needs to be even better. And Trump knows that, so he wants to make it better. And he will in May, when he will appoint new Federal Reserve chairman. All of this news, they need to be priced in. They need to be priced in, but they are not, as I see on the fear and greed index. And people are just so fearful for no reason. All of the good news, they coming up. This chart shows you the disappointment that we're not having the alt season. We're never going to have the same alt seasons we had in 2017, in 2021. Money was zero. The price for money was zero. You could go into the Federal Reserve if you're a small bank, small commercial or regular bank. You go into the Federal Reserve, you say, I want to borrow $1 billion, and the Federal Reserve gives you $1 billion, and guess what? You don't need to pay anything to borrow it, and then you lend that $1 billion to people in a form of loans, mortgages, and you charge them small percentage, 2-3%. That were how low the mortgages and loans, consumer loans, were. Credit cards always 27%, but that's how low those rates were back then. And all of that percentages is just the profits for the banks, for the little banks, and they return back the $1 billion to Federal Reserve, and then you don't need to pay anything for the money they borrowed. They just made 2-3%, and they didn't need to pay anything to the Federal Reserve. And that's why we had this amazing big 3x for Bitcoin and 10x, 20x for all the altcoins. We're not having that. We're gonna have a slow, steady climb up, sometimes down. Everyone starts getting very pessimistic. The fear and greed index go into the fear, and then we start going up. Not very fast. Bitcoin is not finishing at 150 by the end of the year. and then it's range a little bit, and then it goes next to the next range bound, and it stays there. And some altcoins will pump, range, dump, and then a little bit go higher, and most of the altcoins will not, because we just have so many coins and anyone can launch their own on Pump Fund. So Federal Reserve, this is the planned interest rate, 4%. The forecast was 4 and the actual is 4, and the previous was 4.25, and that's the difference that they cut it. Let's look at historically where the interest rate was in the past. So we can see that there was an increase of the interest rate, then it was flat for a long time since middle of 2023 until 2024. It was as high as 2.5, and then the economy started to slow down, more unemployment, higher inflation, and that's when they started to cut. 2 cuts on September 2024. That was the first time, and then by the that's actually when Bitcoin was the lowest at September 2024. That's when Bitcoin went into $56,000, and people again started to be very pessimistic what's going to happen. But guess what? They continued cutting the rate, and Bitcoin now at 110, and it's touched 120. Now, if you could travel back, let's go back into this is September 2024. Look at that. Everyone is pessimistic. Bitcoin just ranging. It's not doing anything. From 67 to 57. Just ranges, 10K. And people just going down like, hey, nothing happening. We're not breaking out. Why Bitcoin is not going higher? And they get scared. And then more negative data comes out. People getting laid off. Inflation. People start feeling the inflation. The fear and greed index falls into the fear. And Jerome comes out. He cuts the rate. Ever since, only up. From 57, within 3 months, we were at 100K. That's 2x on your money if you bought at this point. 56. From September 5 to December 15, you would 2x your money on the asset that is worth trillions of dollars. It's an amazing how that asset just ballooned in price, just doubled in price. And I believe the same happening right now. Bitcoin is just ranging. People are getting scared. Jerome cuts the rate now. Jerome cuts the rate in December, most likely, because the economy will continue shrinking. And who knows, maybe we'll establish a new range, probably 120 lower bound and 150 upper bound. The CPI came out last week, and it came out, the forecast was 3.1, but it actually came out 3.0. What that means is everyone expected inflation, CPI is inflation, to be 3.1, high inflation. Everyone expected higher inflation, but it came out lower inflation. So the fact that it's red, it should be green, because lower is better. Inflation good when it's low. Inflation came lower. Even all of the talks of Trump of having 100% tariff on China. October 10, he said that, announced it. No one knew about it. Everyone was like preparing for the alt season. Wow, yay, we had such a good time for real pump, Ethereum to 5K. Our daddy comes out and he says 100% on China. In February 2nd, this same year, 2025, he came out and he said 25% on China, and that crushed the market. And that was the second biggest liquidation event for crypto, when $2.2 billion were wiped out. Because again, everyone was back in February, Trump got elected in November, and everyone gets very bullish. Oh, we're gonna have alt season. Trump, just like in his previous term, he printed a lot of dollars, he inflated the dollars, and all of the assets went up. He had huge corporate tax cost cuts, and he's gonna do the same. Trump comes out, he's inaugurated, and one of the first thing, tariffs, just 25%, and it crushes the market. Same happens now, he crushed the market. So everyone was the prices supposed to go up when the tariffs are coming in, when there are new tariffs. But maybe they haven't adjusted yet, or maybe market knows already that Trump always changes his policies. It's part of his policy, and he will probably agree to some middle ground, and the tariff is not going to happen. And that's exactly what happened today when he met with Xi Jinping, and they said, no more tariff, all good. We come up with a deal. Rare earth materials, those magnets that are super rare in earth that are used for your cell phones, for the haptic, for the microphone, for the dynamic, all those components of your smartphone, they use rare earth materials, specifically those magnets that are super dense and have higher force for magnetism force. They are more stronger magnets given their small size. Regular magnet cannot generate the same powers. So the deal is reached, no more tariffs, all good, all nice. Let's look at the chart, how the inflation, what's inflation doing? So the target is 2%. We can see that in 2017, just before, inflation was generally lower than 2.5. I would say somewhere here, 2.1, so they did pretty good job of curbing the inflation with their policies. However, huge spike in the COVID years, of course, because of all the money printing. Then we have the Trump inauguration in November 2024. The Fed started to cut the rate. That's immediately affected inflation because economy is just not expanding as fast. And ever since, we were slowly, the inflation was going down, not as fast as they wanted to, because they didn't think that the inflation will be so sticky. And for them, they don't want to keep interest rates high as well, because guess what? United States debt is paid based on the interest rate. So if the interest rate is 5%, the how it was for the whole 2024, that huge US debt, the $38 trillion, that debt needs to be serviced, and everyone who has the treasuries, who bought the treasuries for that debt, they need to get paid out 5% on that money. And that's why Elon Musk was saying how 40% of all the dollars that we make are now just servicing the debt. And that's why there needs to be drastic changes in how United States borrows and spends. The inflation started to go down. 3.3 went as low as 2.6 in 2024 in October last year. And right now it's been going higher. Since May 2025, it's been rising from 2.4 now 3, and we want it to go down lower. And that's why you hear Jerome saying, you know what, December maybe we will not cut the rate, because look, inflation is just coming up. In January 2025, the interest rate was higher than it is now. However, and that's why, and inflation is the same level. That's why it's maybe not a good idea to cut the rate in December, and maybe it needs to be continuously held throughout the months. And who knows? Looking at this chart for inflation, I can tell you there is no reason for Jerome to cut the rate in December. It's just no reason. Just look at that. The inflation is not going down. If it was falling drastically, just like it did right now here in the March 2024, at the beginning of 2024, then you can see, okay, inflation is going down, but right now there's just no reason. Economy is still doing well enough. It's doing okay. And then May next year comes in, and Jerome goes to retires, and Trump hires some crazy guy, and they just cut the rate, and the rest is history. We will see how that's gonna play out in the financial markets. Next thing I wanted to mention is big news happened this week is Solana ETF approval. So the first SEC is Securities and Exchange Commission. The first official Securities and Exchange Commission approved ETF, Solana ETF, was coming from Bitwise, and the new ticker would be BSOL. So in your brokerages, if you have Fidelity, Charles Schwab, you can type in BSOL, and that would be the Bitwise Solana ETF. It's great because it adds one more buyer into the Solana market, and now it's an institutional player. No, sorry, it's institutional in a way because it's licensed, and other participants, big money, can be sure that their Solana will be secured. They don't need to buy. Imagine if you have $1 billion under management, if you're BlackRock. Well, BlackRock, it's a bad example because they're gonna just launch their own ETF probably. But let's say you are an endowment fund, the Harvard Endowment Fund, and you have $60 billion under management. You're not going to create a phantom wallet in a browser. There is just too many risks, right? The way how ridiculous it sounds, at the end of the day, it's just too many risks, and they cannot expose themselves to crypto. However, if there is an ETF, Solana ETF, now there is an entity, in this case Bitwise, that can get sued if they do something wrong, or if they get hacked, or if they some other way fumble their bag with Solana. And that gives the security to companies to start buying BSOL. The fact that it's Bitwise operates in US, it has history, and they can get sued, so it gives protections. And another amazing thing of this ETF is that staking is allowed. So if you buy BSOL, Bitwise buys the Solana, and then they go and they stake it. So Solana actually has inflation. It's not like Bitcoin that's only have 21 million supply. Solana has a inflation schedule, and they started the inflation for Solana from 8%, and every year it goes down by, I believe, 1.5%. And right now, so in 2021, they started that was the first year with the highest inflation of 8%. And right now in 2025, the inflation is roughly 4.2. So if you hold just Solana in your wallet, if you hold 100 SOL in your wallet, at the end of the year, it will worth 95.8. It will be still the same 100 Solanas, but it's, so to speak, purchasing power for that Solana would be less by 4.2. However, here's another kicker, is that when you transact in Solana, you pay fees, the network fees. And those network fees, half of those network fees are burned. It's just part of the Solana algorithm, the way Solana operates. So because there is this burning mechanism, that is deflationary, which means it removes Solana from the supply. So 4.2 is the inflation, it's just the program prints new Solana every year. But the burning mechanism, half of the all transaction fees are being burned, that's deflationary mechanism. So we add them together, or rather subtract one from another, and we end up at the inflation rate of roughly 3.5 to 4%. So real Solana inflation is 3.5 to 4%. And the staking right now pays roughly 7%. So you can see how if you stake Solana, you will earn roughly 3 to 3.5% on your staked SOL. That is the real benefit for your, that's the real yield that you're earning through staking. And for Ethereum, for example, they have a similar setup where they have the yield right now is 2 to 3% on Ethereum. So the great thing about this Bitwise Solana ETF is that you can now take your brokerage account. Again, if you want to operate in the legal field of in a legal realm of US and be covered by the US laws, and be sure that your money are not stolen, and you don't need to self-custody your money. Crypto is great that it's permissionless, but it introduces new risks like the wrench attacks, where people can just come in and they just say, hey, give me all your Solana, and guess what, you have to give them all your Solanas. However, if the money are in some other entity, they are holding it. Just like if you buy gold, you don't need to store gold in your house. It's just too risky. How to insure it, how to carry it, how to custody it. And Bitwise will be holding your Solana, and they will take care of not only holding your Solana so you don't have that risk of losing it all and being the victim of wrench attack, but they also gonna find the validator who will stake it your Solana, and you will earn the 7% on your Solana, which is not paid out to you in any way. It's being reinvested into the BSOL. So the BSOL will be appreciating in value as the staking interest will be flowing into the BSOL, back into the BSOL. So you can see how many advantages you have of that. First of all, it's staking is already set up automatically, and you don't need to self-custody it, so it's secure and you can rely on them. And the third thing is that you can take your a lot of people in the US, they have retirement accounts. Those are IRAs, individual retirement account. Those are 401ks, those are Roth IRAs. And you can now take the money that you have in those accounts and you can buy the Solana ETF, you can buy the BSOL. It's less likely, so 401ks, those are programs that are assigned from your employer, but the Roth IRAs, they are self-directed. You decide what to buy, what assets. You take the Roth IRA. Roth IRA allows you to buy anything you want that's listed in the US equity markets, and you can take Roth IRA and buy BSOL, Solana ETF, and by the time you're 65, depends on how old you are. Maybe you're 27, maybe you're 35. Based on my audience from Twitter and YouTube, you're most likely 35. You will buy your BSOL with your Roth IRA. Roth IRA is tax-free because the money that you put inside the Roth IRA, they are after-tax dollars, and there is a limit how much money you can put, but this year I believe it's 7,000. And Solana in 30 years, guess where Solana gonna go? Very big chance that it's not going to zero again, because of the previous things that I mentioned, is how deeply intertwined it is now with the US financial markets, with the new DeFi protocols that coming out. The Solana Foundation, they are not being interested into the meme coins and looking into the DeFi projects, looking into the stable coins. For example, Solana announced that they are partnering with the money transferring service, that's called, what's the name of the transfer money? Western Union, number one. Solana partnered with Western Union to issue Solana's stablecoin, and that is, again, it shows you that the foundation is looking more into the TradFi, into the DeFi, and not in the consumer projects, consumer products, and meme coins and trading infrastructure. Just they know that they want to bring those big money into the ecosystem. So that's BSOL, the ETF, great news. One thing though, that to wrap up this about the Solana ETF, is that how it's going to affect the price. And of course, on paper, it should be really good because it's a new buyer in the market. The new buying pressure, will be in the market. It's still people, right? Because it's not the digital asset companies, for example, buying the Solana. It's regular people establishing pulling up their brokerage accounts and buying Solana from those brokerage accounts. So if they get scared, like for example now, when there is fear and greed index is hovering in the fear territory, they will be selling the ETF. And then when everyone is talking about, oh, Bitcoin this and that, altcoin season is happening, it's inevitable, Ethereum to $15,000, they will be buying. And so they will be cheating just like anyone else, and the volatility will be there. They're not like Michael Saylor, who just buys and sits on the assets. So what happened with Ethereum, when we all know what happened with Bitcoin when that happened in January 2024. So in October, all the news that that's back when Biden was the president, and the Gary Gensler was head of Securities and Exchange Commission, and the application for the Bitcoin was there. It was just not moving forward. And then all of a sudden, we get the news that the application is moving forward. Still not approved, but at least it's moving forward. Like SEC came back and said, hey, you have the mistakes here and here and here. So they're like, oh, okay, at least you are looking at our application. And the price started to go up, and it's continued to go up from 30K all the way. March is too high. Let's do daily. This is the price action. So the news, the application is moving forward, boom, immediately, big whales coming in, pushing the price out of the established range. The range was 25 and 30. We have some green candles, the ones that everyone is praying for now. And then the price started to go up. November, December, it goes up. And then at the end of December, it finishes and establishes a new range between 40 and 45. And January 6th, I believe, is when the ETF was finally announced. January 11th, January 10th, yeah, somewhere here. And we have the sell-off, of course, because people buying on-chain, people buying like degens, they know where to buy Bitcoin. So classical, buy the rumor, sell the news. The rumor initiated here in October, the news, ETF is approved, immediate sell-off, people made money. However, it didn't last too long. Once people who wanted to speculate on Bitcoin left, now we were left with the people who are long-term believers, and the ETF started to roll in. That buying pressure started to roll in, and that's when we see this push from 40K up to 73. And again, new range is established, and then we're ranging from now on. So that was the Bitcoin. For Ethereum though, Ethereum ETF was announced in summer 2024. And again, it was the moment when the rumor were already there circulating, and if the Bitcoin is announced, that means all the other crypto will be having ETFs as well. And that was the buy moment. The Bitcoin ETF is the same as Ethereum ETF. They all tied together because people know that, okay, if we have Bitcoin, we will have Ethereum. So you didn't need to wait for the news, oh, there is an application for Ethereum ETF. That's when the Bitcoin came out, that's when you buy. So when the Ethereum rumors came out and official approval of the ETF happened, everyone already was loaded, everyone who wanted, and we were already ranging. And these terrible, devastating red candles happened exactly when the ETF was approved. August, I believe it was June or July, and then we ranged a little bit, and then a huge sell-off, because that was the people selling the news. Big sell-off. They thought that, okay, now once the ETF is approved, we're gonna perform the same way as Bitcoin did, from 2x, and maybe more, because Ethereum is smaller in the market cap. It requires less money to flow in to pump the market cap. But it didn't, because again, Ethereum played out together with Bitcoin. So it dumped from 3,400 all the way down, well, 2,100. That was 40% drawdown, and then it bounced lower and lower. And this is kind of the price action that I personally, in my mind, I'm expecting for altcoins to the throughout November. Right now we're looking at Ethereum chart, right? And imagine that we are looking at, let's say, any altcoin out there, and this big candle with a big wick, this is actually October 10. Now, right now, we are in a situation like this. And Ethereum actually also in this situation. Ethereum went as low as 3,200, I believe, depending on which exchange you're looking at. So this week went so low, and we were ranging higher. We recovered a little bit, but we never was able to establish higher highs and higher lows. And then we end up feeling this week all the way down, and it took 30 days. So 30 days until we feel the wick. If our liquidation, biggest liquidation in crypto history, happened in October 10, and we extrapolate the same logic as it happened before, that puts us in November 10. So before November 10, I am not planning to do any moves toward any altcoins, because there is still a high chance that we will fill in the wick, and it will take 30 days. And the whole ranging of Ethereum price happened until it broke out into the from the range. It took 90 days, so 3 months. Again, just for a mental exercise, for no reason, absolutely no. But let's just imagine in an imaginary world where you have chocolate rivers or whatever you want to have in your imaginary world. 3 months from October 10, that puts us at January 10, October, November, December, January. January 10 is when we will have the uptick. And you know what? I like this theory. I like this thinking, the way of thinking, because if we don't have any pump in November and in December, that's when you're gonna see all over the crypto Twitter that 4-year cycle is over. We have to pack it up, guys. No more altcoin season. There's definitely no more altcoin season. If you're in December and everyone was talking about how Q4 2025 is our last hope and nothing is happening, everyone will turn up very pessimistic. The fear and greed index might tip into the fear. Bitcoin goes into 96, 95. Ethereum goes into 32, 3,200, or maybe 3,100, touching the 3,000 mark. Everyone becomes super negative, and some big boy with his big dick energy comes in and buys a huge bag, generating these gigantic green candles of volume, because lots of people selling, the retail is selling, but the big ball guy, big dick guy is buying. And it might be the ETF, it can be the digital asset treasury company, and it will pump the Ethereum. So that's all the news about Bitcoin, about Solana ETF. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Padre. We talked in previous episode that I was recording. Padre was acquired by Pump Fun, and they had a utility token. The ticker is Padre, and it just crashed terribly. I made a post about it. However, let's see, do I have it? I thought I had, no, I don't have it. But the token crashed 80%, and everyone was furious from the Padre community because they supported the project by buying the token. It's helped Padre as a terminal to just build their whole terminal through those people, through the community who gambled on their shitty coin that end up not being a utility token after all. They put everywhere in their docs that how it's gonna be a burn mechanism and the fees will be paid, the classical BNB Binance story. That was supposed to be the utility, but that didn't happen, and then boom, Pump Fund buys it, and Pump Fund, when it announces, says in the tweet, like 8 tweets down the thread, they say, oh, by the way, Padre token, no plans for it, no utility, token dumps, and everyone is furious. And Padre came out and they saying that there was a snapshot taken of the Padre so that to remember all the holders, and they're gonna get pump token instead of. So whatever USD amount of Padre token you had, you will receive the same USD amount of pump. That's at least my understanding. That's the fair how it should be done. And I feel that this decision was done under the pressure from the community, because you cannot do like this. You just had a huge liquidation, not liquidation, liquidity moment for yourself, for the project. So just throw a couple pennies into your peasant supporters, and just to calm them down. And you were supposed to announce it a little bit even earlier, but it hasn't been done, and it's already leaves a bad aftertaste, in my opinion. So that's Padre. Next, what happened this week is there was a stream. So there is this project, time.fun, where you can bid for the time of prominent Solana people. Most of them are Solana people, but there are other people, celebrities, who partner with time.fun, and you bid for their time. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And they organized an amazing event where they streamed. You can see from official Solana account, they streamed pitch event. The participant in the pitch event were Toli Kavenko, who is the founder of Solana, Mert from Helios, the main RPC. That's like if you want to connect and you have a blockchain app and you want to get and see actually the transactions that are happening on the blockchain, on the Solana blockchain, you need to have so to speak, someone who will give you that data in a digestible, regular APIs, RESTful APIs, so that your app can read it. And Helios is the one who will provide that data, who will provide those APIs. I think like 90%, they have 90% of the market for the RPC, Helios. Ansem is the guy who's the biggest meme coin KOL, got prominent and famous for buying Dog with Hat in October, November 2024, and making millions of dollars in that trade because he was bull posting Dog with Hat back in the end of 2024. 2024 or 2023? 2020, maybe 2023. Yeah, same when Solana went from $20 to 200. That's when he was bull posting. Am I confusing? No. I think that's correct. Yeah. Well, it's very easy to check with. You can see all these markings is me tracking and doing some TA on the width. Okay, not 2023, yeah. Well, this one is from Binance, and Binance is a centralized exchange. We need to look at Dex Screener because he was bull posting it when it was back on chain. And of course it was on chain way before it ended up on 140K. Is this some scam thing? Yeah, it's a scam. 8 transactions. Where is the main width? It will have the biggest 90, 30. 140K. 528 mil. Yeah, that sounds about right. We are curious when it started. This also shows very early. Okay, so maybe maybe this specific pool was originated and wasn't the first one. How? CoinMarketCap. Let's try CoinMarketCap. It should show when it started. Yeah, 2023. So December 2023, he was bull posting and noticed somehow dog with hat and started to bull post it. And maybe he was one in the team. Anyway, uh, all these people, and also Chao, this is how you pronounce his name, that is the partner in the Alliance Combinator, not Combinator, Incubator. Chao and Imran, those are the two main partners behind and the founders of the Alliance Incubator, from where Pump Fund came out, Pump.Fund came out from there, and a bunch of other now very known user-facing applications came out from Alliance. So all of these GigaBrains, basically Solana cabal, were on the stream, and 3 projects were pitching them. Now the crypto Twitter went furious, not furious, but they didn't like the fact that all the projects got trashed, and these projects paid. So one of them paid $50,000, and it wasn't like just a one-time payment. It was a bid. It was like an auction where companies were competing, right? And they all paid above 30K to be on this pitch event. And the first project actually, Tolly said that it was some kind of an infrastructure project that allows you to scale and deploy apps on Solana. And Tolly was trashing it because you need to have either volume or you need to have assets under management, and this company wasn't providing neither of those. So he was saying, okay, like if there will be 15,000 new developers on Solana and they chose you, this is their product, how much you're gonna make money and how you're gonna make money. And he said that, okay, as an angel, I will consider you and just throw you some money, but there is a big question whether you succeed or not, whether it's a... So that's the first project. The second project is the funniest one because the name was Analos or Analos, and that's how they called it, Analos. But I think even everyone chuckled on the call. And then when the idea behind the Analos is it's a fork of Solana, so they have the same it's a fork, so it's different. Everything is different, but the same code base. So different validators, different pools, different dexes, environment, ecosystem. They need to just rebuild everything that Solana has. But they had a coin that is already trading on Solana. And during the pitch, they didn't show their face, and the name was Analos. You can also read it as Anal OS, which can be a joke. And these people, Tolly, Mert, Ansem, and Chao, they receive so much inbound for investments, and Solana is it's a scam chain because of the meme coins, and so many scammers are on Solana, and so many projects are looking to get hype and interest just to get some eyeballs, and then based on that just try to scam the people and investors. And this event is just so simple. You just bid to show up. You know that it's going to be streamed and exposed to so many people. 96,000 people saw this stream, and it can be all part of the PR stunt to pump the price and then rug pull. And I think that's when that's why Tolly chuckled when he was asked for his feedback. He said, like, what is this basically fork? What's the point of it? You're not creating anything new. There is no new technology, and you're just going to rebuild everything that we are building here in Solana already. So that's understandable in my opinion. It's not maybe a good idea to pitch to the founder like your fork of his project, because how is Solana gonna benefit from your fork? It's not like the L2 on Solana. It's just a different fork. It's L1. Like I believe Dogecoin is the fork of Litecoin. So, and unfortunately, the crypto Twitter took it a little bit more negatively than I'm doing it right now, because I took time to watch the stream, and this tweet, for example, it went 23,000 views, but it's saying how they paid 40K and Tolly founder just called it useless, and the price went down 90% after the call. And who knows, maybe the founders themselves, they had this PR event. You can see that. Let's look at it as well on the chart so we can measure it ourselves. Everything that was happening. Everything that was happening. Yeah, you can see that leading up to the event, this is probably where so all the insiders, they buy here. They know that it's going to happen. The announcement, they know that they're in the talks, they will participate. So they maybe turned around this price action from bearish going down into the sideways and then higher high, higher low, because they were buying at these levels. So they load up here at 2 mil, then the stream comes out. 2 mil is not so much and unaffordable. Just a small amount of liquidity can pump it, so which can calculate. So 3 mil, it went all the way to 3 mil. They were at 2 mil, so we have 1 million of market cap. And the general rules of thumb is 1/10. It takes 1/10 of the real capital to pump something market cap. And we have 1 mil here, so 100K of real money came in here, which is easily the retail money, came in here, establishing a new range of 3 mil, and the stream happens, and maybe it's the insiders who dump the token. So the token got dumped 80%, with the week 91%. And surprisingly, it got bought out almost immediately. Maybe, again, everything I'm talking here, I'm just assuming, so maybe it's not a scam project, but the fact that they didn't show their face, I didn't like it myself. You're going to speak to all these distinguished gentlemen of Solana and you're not gonna show your face. I mean, that just screams scam. And given that it's a fork, all things together, everyone just was laughing on the call, on the speech. So I don't think personally that it was like too bad of the feedback and behavior. And the third project was more interesting. The third project was Meme Loot, which is a consumer-facing app. It's a mobile app run by Michel, and the idea behind the app is it's a TikTok. It's a something between TikTok and Zora, where you publish content, in this case videos, and every video is immediately mintable crypto, and you bet on the videos and you like them, so that if they go viral in the app, you actually make money. So kind of like TikTok plus crypto plus Zora. On Zora you already can tokenize your content and make money out of it, and here it's just built more in the TikTok interface. And one comment that came from Tolly was that you trying to merge video with, because again, what we're doing here at Apin is it's also very similar. It's a mobile app, it's consumer facing, and Tolly's feedback was, if you're trying to do videos, then you are competing with TikTok. Then you don't need crypto if you're trying to do video app. You're competing with TikToks, which means their value prop is the algorithm and the tools that you provide for editing the videos. And if you're trying to do a crypto project, your number one problem is traders. How are you gonna appeal to traders and help them to make money? And if the traders are not buying it, if the traders are not interested in your product, if you're not solving some of their features, they're not gonna participate and use the app in general. So merging those two, it's very hard, and that's why he was also very it wasn't very supportive to this project. Which again, I think I found it interesting that they still took time to think about the project. Ansem as well chimed in on his opinion, what's going to happen, not what's going to happen, but like Michelle was saying how they are onboarding right now KOLs and not the big brands, because they had a very interesting way when the brands, instead of paying to the network, for example to Instagram, to publish ads, they do an airdrop. to everyone who is participating and will be watching their videos. So the airdrop goes to the people and not to the Facebook in case of current established product, Instagram. So very interesting way. And Michelle was saying how they are onboarding KOLs right now and not the big brands, and working with them and trying to figure out product market fit. But yeah, that's the interesting insights that I found from this stream, and I wish and I hope that Time Fund will conduct more of those live pitches. And I can tell you guys that this feedback was no near how it actually happens in real life. Here they took time, they listened through the whole pitch, then they had back and forth questions, and then they shared not only their feedback, not only their opinion about the product, they also were supportive, saying like, okay, you need to figure out this and that. In real life, when you pitch projects, and I've been to multiple meetings of this with investors, they look at your idea, they might scroll through the slides if they are in control of the deck, and that's it. They don't say feedback, no, nothing. You're not gonna even hear anything from them, and they just leave you hanging. So in this case, this was even better than the real life pitches. That's my thoughts of this event and how the recorded and kind of this event was, and it's televised, right? It's streamed, so they know that they cannot be ruthless to the founders. So it was overall, but it wasn't as bad as it is in real life. However, paying $40,000 to appear on that, even if you want to just test your idea or potentially find investors, it's not worth it for small projects. Like how many, it's better go and try to apply to the hackathon, because there is a big chance that any of these people will participate as judges for the hackathon. Or if not the hackathon, the next step would be the incubator, like the Alliance Incubator. If you get the feedback from there and you say no, you received a no from the incubator, then you don't need to pay $40,000 for that. Imagine if they would pay $40,000 to KOL deal, to other marketing streams, to acquire new users. They could airdrop $40,000. If they would airdrop $40,000, they will have tens of thousands of users coming and joining their apps. But who knows what their situation, maybe they raised money, maybe they raised some seed money, and that allowed them to have 40K to spend on this basically PR stunt. Of course, people, maybe they will have some partnerships. 90,000 people at the end of the day watched the video. However, when they heard that these distinguished gentlemen, their opinion, what they said, how they trashed the projects, I doubt that there will be big partnerships done outside of this group. So very interesting, controversial for sure, and but good to hear Tolly's real unfiltered feedback on the project like this. Another one big thing before wrapping this news that Tolly said at the beginning is that in crypto, all the apps, all the revenue is tied to volume or assets under management. So that basically means that whatever you're building, the money should be either passing through your protocol or it needs to be stored in your protocol. So one is the trading, the other one is DeFi. One is Pump Fund, where the money just going through the protocol, and Pump Fund charges 1% on every transaction fee. And the other one is Lido, where money are staked, or what is a good example of other, or Ethena, where money are staked and you have your protocol now has all that money coming in, and these are basically assets under management, AUM. That's the term from traditional finance. And then what you do with that money is you can redeploy it, you can lend it out depending on the protocol as well. Maybe you will lend out to other participants in your protocol. So those are the two ways how money are made in crypto. And that was a good insight from Tolly, on my opinion, is that when you're designing or developing a project, you need to, your project and product, it needs to fall into those two buckets. There is no third bucket. You cannot invite advertisers. That's the case for the first project that was pitched on this stream. They were saying how maybe they will invite advertisers, and advertisers will be, because it was games related, the protocol, the infrastructure project, were saying how there will be lots of games spin out from their product. But Tolly's counterpoint was that, okay, if you're going to do games, then it's an ads business where you have a bunch of people coming in, and then you have brands who want to advertise on your platform. And if that's not the case, then you're not doing a crypto project. So 2 buckets, either assets under management or volume. That's it. That's any product in crypto. Project in crypto has to fall into those categories, which I liked, giving that clear distinction and definition for anyone to think. And the last, what also happened is Launchcoin. Finally, they transitioned into Believe. That was the announcement from Pasternak that they're gonna have 33% inflation on the previous Launchcoin, and that you have to, you can convert your Launchcoin into the Believe. And they had a window open for that event to happen. And October 29 was the moment when the conversion was it was a deadline for the conversion. And look what happened with the chart. Even after the announcement of the conversion, it's fluctuated. Actually, should we try to find out when the what would be the fastest way? The fastest way would be probably to look directly at the Believe. Well, October 20th. The Phantom app. Okay, October 15, that was the upgrade period, October 15th. Okay, we're holding Launchcoin at the end of the upgrade period. You will still be. So October 15th, let's see how the price reacted October 15th. This might be, yeah, this big volume candle. That was the announcement that the Launchcoin is going to be useless. From 97, 24% down to 73, makes sense. So I don't understand what other people were doing here. All of these people, all of these orders. Maybe they just forgot about Launchcoin because the crypto is down, so they're like, what the hell? I'm just gonna hold this coin and focus on some other things in my life. Because at that point, they were already, if they bought here at 250 and now it's 76, they are 70% down, so they like forgot about it. Oh, the price, even look at that, it was lower low, lower highs, and then we had a breakout, these candles, and the price was actually pretty good. There was higher high and higher low, and this is what happened after the conversion. The conversion happened and the price just went, because they said we're not going to use the coin anymore, so that was expected in my opinion. From 77 million to 700k. That looks just a diabolical rug pull. 99% down. But hey, they did announce it. They said, here's the deadline, just do it. And yeah, I don't understand why people didn't pay attention to that. That's why you always need to You know, if you participate in crypto Twitter, if you partake in crypto in general, you have to be on crypto Twitter. If you bought this launch coin through, let's say, so if you bought it through Believe app, they definitely announced it there. If you bought it only on Phantom, I can imagine, how else can you find out? Maybe like through Telegram groups. You bought it through some chat, but you're not into crypto Twitter. Like, how can you not know that there is a deadline for conversion? Like, what are you hoping for? So unfortunately, there are so many people who are still sitting in that coin. Like, look at this, holders 23,000 people, even after this gigantic rug pull or the liquidity yank. There is 23,000 still holding the coin. Who are these people? Why are they still holding? That's all, guys, for the news for the last week. Everything that happened so far. And I think, as usual, I think it's a good time to trench a little bit. We can see that TG Metrics is doing, that's why Apin is so good. So Apin, it's available on 170 countries in App Store. Links are in our bio on Twitter. And it's also available as a web app if you're on Android. And you can even open it on desktop. But TG Metrics is doing very well. And where Apin is good is it's basically a good watch list. So there are some coins that I bought and they just didn't go anywhere, like Poly. It was supposed to be a new mascot for Poly Market, and it's down 70%. I still have my limit order open for Poly. We have the Olympics, that was a TikTok trend, also down 85%. But if it pumps for any reason, the limit order is still there. The automatic take profit there, and it will get closed. The Wizard Gang, it's sad, but we're just not in the meme coin season, down 65%. But TG Metrics, and here you just throw small amounts and you basically track projects that you will forget about them because there's so many meme coins coming every day. Dex Screener is not a good app for discovery. Pump Fun is not a good app for discovery if you're not at your table, at your like full setup. But on Apin, you just find coins and then you ape small amounts, and now TG Metrics is on my radar because I saw it on Apin and I bought small bag of it, and now I bought 10 bucks of it, and now I'm up to 25. Maybe I bought more because it says plus 16. Let's check the TG Metrics quickly. Is that a pump for today? Yeah, it's pumping right now. So from 400 pumped to 1 mil. Yeah, 1.2 even. That's pretty good. That's good price action. The Job coin also is one of the green ones in my portfolio. And look at this, clear higher highs. No, sorry, not higher highs, but clear support level. And it's just not rugging, not going down. The insiders are not dumping it. And the narrative is funny. It's so pure meme-like, is that instead of getting a job, just get the job. But this type of job, the meme coin job. And it's just a joke. It's kind of like a dad's joke, but it's in green for me personally. So let's degen, let's see which coins are pumping right now or today. So SAM framework, Solana agent middleware, and AI powered framework for automated trading and DeFi operations on Solana blockchain. I think I looked into this and not funny, not interesting. Bunny, 2 days ago, 23% at top 10. Bunny is a bright adventurous bunny who loves exploring new places and discovering hidden wonders with endless curiosity and heart full of dreams. So this is engineered character. It's not a meme, it's not a project, it's just a community trying to push this character up. And usually coins like this, the RAG ratio within coins like this is higher. And I don't see any uniqueness here. So my research has to fall into finding who is behind the project, i.e. who are the admins of the X community, if they have established account, who is the dev behind this coin, and what's the narrative behind it. So Nova saying that it's funded with Bybit funded wallets, 16% of supply, MEXC and Binance. Careful with that shit. I don't see that as a red flag, the fact that it's funded. So people are buying from Bybit and MEXC. What's the problem with that? Reply in the comments or something. Let me know like what can be the problem with the fact that it's funded by those wallets. To my opinion, it seems like it's a pretty diverse set of exchanges, and all the money is still in crypto comes from the centralized exchanges. So I don't see it as being a problem. Let's go into the community. 500 members. About created October 27, 2025. Moderators, only Bunny, that's it. No other moderators. Created by Bunny on Sol. Usually I don't buy coins like this because what's interesting about it? There is no meta, there is no X402 payments, agentic payments. It's just people getting together, organizing, hiring illustrators, coming up with a narrative and pushing it all down our throats. So I'm extremely bearish on projects like this. I don't see any value, additional value, like build something behind it, do some interesting burn mechanism, or we giving our trading fees to buy these bunnies, the toys, and give it to the people, and you should do the same and post it on TikTok and go viral. Like, you cannot just, it's not 2023 anymore. You have to do something more, some more creative crypto shit. So that's Bunny. And it can go up. I'm not saying it's gonna go down. It's just I'm not gonna buy it. You in crypto, most of the projects are scams. Just a different variety and degree of scamminess present in the project. And riding some coattail, if you bought Useless or Uranus when they were initially launched, you would make millions of dollars because those scams were orchestrated by the those coins were pumped by the crypto people, Solana people, with deep pockets and liquidity, and they pumped those tokens because they had to have some flagship projects, flagship meme coins for their projects, for Bonk system, for Jupiter Launchpad, and you just riding on their coattail, and they have huge allocations, and it's all bundled. But you can ride that, and if you can find those scams, those are the best scams because they will make you most money. The fair one and the good narrative, they also make money. It's just hard to find them. Remember KitKat launched 8 hours ago. I was reading about this on Twitter, and I was sure that it will show up on Apin because how viral it was, and it seems to be the narrative. I think this cat got killed. Ataberg isn't the cleanest one, doesn't mean it's gonna send it all. Yeah, so Nova vouching for this token. I want to find out about the narrative. What's the narrative behind this? Right now they're just fighting who's the OG, the original KitKat token. Give me the narrative. who's the owner, this and that. Just tell me what's the cat got killed or what? Okay. Crypto beat board. KitKat official. 1,000 members. James Wayne and Bitboard have run this token from the launch to over 7 mil. The self-driving tabby cab AI Waymo did a hit and run after killing a local neighborhood cat. There is a meme created. Early Peanut vibes. Okay, it's just a generic picture of Waymo, but it's taken in the movement so that the robot is escaping the crime scene. All right. Show me some proof that. But is it real James Wynn account? 400. It is James. It is real James Wynn account. He's pumping it. Wait, he promoted the coin and it sits at 600k, 800k. What's happening, guys? How come his coin that he's promoting, that he's bull posting, is only at 800k? How is that possible? Is his audience completely dead, or his followers are just not taking any of his advice? Where is his post? Cannot find it anymore. But yeah, the cat got killed in San Francisco. Most famous bodega cat, KitKat. Now there are 3 KitKat coins fighting for the spotlight, and you've aped in already. And if you aped in already, you're probably in the wrong one. The KitKat's owner's nephew. The official Instagram account, let's check that. 1,000 followers. Rendas Market. San Francisco, 16th and Valencia. Is there a post that this cat is even killed? Because what if it's not killed? Okay. Oh, remember KitKat, of course. Sorry, it says right there in the bio that the cat was actually killed. Okay. No, it's boring. Not fun. Not interesting. The news all over, like with Peanut, it was very obvious. It was the libtards of New York, the crazy people in the government, the Democratic government of the New York, who elects those crazy people, the blue-haired, killed and euthanized a pet squirrel. And that news went into the right part of the internet, and all the Republicans were screaming, "Oh my God, this New York, it's crazy. How can you violate the freedoms of this person?" And the squirrel was such a nice and cute pet. That was the whole narrative. That's why it went to 1 billion market cap, and Elon Musk was posting it. Is Elon Musk gonna post about KitKat? You know what? Here's the narrative, is like the robot killed it. So now, who is against robots? Who might be against? Can that? Nah, I think that's too weak. That's too weak. Nah, not there. Alpha Arena, 1 week ago. Can LLMs train autonomously? Price action. Went to 8 mil, corrected to 400k, pumped again from 400k to 1.3. That's when it's good to buy projects and finding projects, the ones that already dumped heavily but not going anywhere lower. 300k is not 60k and not 30k, because that's where the frozen liquidity often sits. It's either 30k or 60k. If there were new pools open on Meteora, then the frozen liquidity will be a little bit higher, but if the project didn't go lower and you follow the founders and they continue posting about it, in this case that's the project coin, that's the ICM meta, then you can actually gamble that the price will continue going up, like TG Metrics is going up now. And look, from 400k to 1.5, that's what, almost 5k, 5x, sorry, 5x. And then it dumped again to 400. Oh, it's actually dumped, yeah. Now it's at 400. But you know what? I haven't seen this project. I haven't released it, reviewed it. I'm curious to see what is it about. It's launched on October 16. Because Apin is a great way to discover ICM coins as well. Whatever is launched on Bonk or Pump Fun will be on Apin, and if there is volume behind it. Trading competitions to top 6 models, each gets $10,000. So we have Dev. All right. No contract mentioned in his profile. So maybe he's not the one who launched the coin, and some other people just saw his project and
is given $10,000 and identical prompts and input data. The goal behind the project is not only to see which model trades the best, but also to see how these models will behave in one of the most unpredictable environments in the world, the financial market. And in this way, create the best benchmarking environment for them. They also want to use this information to create new base models that can create their own training data forever. The first official round of the competition was last week and it was won by Grok. This is the second round with some improvements, and they're also promising a third round with even more updates and a human trader as a benchmark. The project is seeing growing attention and having interactions from people like Elon Musk, members of the Google DeepMind team, and other people from the AI space. The team behind the project is called KnowF1, an AI research lab focused on financial markets. And the founder is Jia Zhang, who's followed by many notable people both from crypto and AI space. The coin is not officially endorsed, however, the developer was recently followed by Alon, which is what similarly happened to Spark when they ended up moving the creator rewards to the real developers. Follow me for more quick and easy videos about Solana projects.
All right, thank you very much, Pedrino, for this. What we learned is that it's not official coin, right? It's not official coin, and that the Grok won the competition. Remember, yeah, remember the price action, how it looks like. So we need to find out what's the future behind it. What can be the Spark, of course, the something about life. I didn't like that project because I didn't understand why it's going up. Someone probably came in like a whale who put maybe 1 mil because the project ended up going super high. And if this repeats the Spark success, although it's already went down so much and we had this little pump and it also died and we're back at 400k, it's definitely complicates and pulls the sentiment down. Yeah, the fact that it's not connected. That's the Grok who won the competition. The fact that it's not connected, what are they trading? Are they trading equities or crypto? they're trading crypto because you see XRP, ETH, and BNB, Doge, ETH, Sol, Gemini. So he said, okay, this one, Claude Sonnet, DeepSeek, GPT, Gemini, Grok. Oh, I wish he would scroll down here. I mean, you can check it on the website. Actually, let's open the website. That would be interesting. Show me the website. I'm going to find the website. Here is the arena, and DeepSeek is winning right now. They have 70k now, DeepSeek. What is this purple one? Qwen 3 Max? I haven't heard of this one. Positions. Grok is losing now. They were giving 10k, and now they are $8,000. And GPT is the Sam Altman gotta do something. Gemini, both Gemini and GPT lost 7k. They down 70%. How is GPT and Gemini are, what's in there? Gemini is shorting. GPT has some longs. 20x. Wow. If they are allowed to take such a huge leverage, 35x? Yeah, I think 35x is probably the highest. No wonder they are no wonder they're 70% down. This is the real this is the real machine that will show you how to lose money in crypto. Is you take 35. Oh, they're shorting Bitcoin. Okay, with 35. But anyways, 35, 3% swing in the opposite direction. Michael Saylor came in. Trump said Bitcoin is the best asset, so we're gonna have a Federal Reserve of it. 3% gain, 3% up, and your short position with 35x lost. No wonder they have 7x, 70% drawdown on their account. What is but the same logic applies to DeepSeek. Who's he betting on? Look at that. DeepSeek is 10x, and that's already, we can learn so much from this exercise. That's amazing. Too bad this meme coin is not attached to this project. That's why I would not buy that coin. But interesting exercise, trading exercise. Any other interesting insights we can see from this? The other one I would say is that Claude Sonnet, the best model for programmers, has the lowest leverage out of all of the models here, which is 8x, which is still liquidation ready position. Ripple, longing Ripple and longing Solana. Yeah, looks like they are trading the most top 10 assets. And when did they start? They start October 17 they started, right? So how it was progressing. Wow, the DeepSeek is actually doing pretty well. Grok, that's when the it was profitable, but then it went down, lost its money. And ChatGPT just from the beginning was negative. So whatever the takeaway from this is, if you want financial advice, if you are asking GPT, what should I do? And here's the chart, here's the screenshot. Don't ask the GPT, don't ask the Gemini. Ask DeepSeek and Qwen 3 Max. And you can see that even from the beginning, they were kind of, you can say, conservative, because they didn't have swings like Grok had, where one of his positions just blew up in his face. Yeah, DeepSeek is pretty good. Made money, then loss, made again, then loss, lower loss, and then slowly got himself out and pulled himself out. Been losing lately, the last couple days. Very interesting project. Now let's go back to trenches. That was alpha. Threat research and history trail. Decentralized access to file classification and AI/ML training datasets via blockchain. 1.6 mil. And it's pumping. That is a good looking chart. And it's a project coin. Can I introduce you to the next $1 million? Okay, thank you. They initiated by the Perkins Cybersecurity Educational Fund. Aims to reinvent how researchers, students, and organizations access cybersecurity and artificial intelligence datasets. Legally recognized nonprofit structure. The tokenomics model based on deflation and transparency. What is their deflation mechanism if they are launched on Pump Fund? Perkins, yeah, okay. Recognized that it's being a charity. They're tax exempt. Leveraging blockchain to create a transparent file classification registry and decentralized access to AI/ML datasets. Why, as non-profit, is creating datasets? Massive datasets, petabytes of data. These services are priced at an enterprise level, costing tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. Lack of transparency in AI. Okay, so basically some infrastructure project for cybersecurity, AI and ML models. That is so niche. That is so niche that I don't know enough to speculate whether it is gonna go higher or just gonna crash and this is the top. Lil Bits, 1 week ago, taking the self-custodial revolution mainstream one little bit at a time. Okay, went to 2 mil, correction now. If it's just the cartoon, then it's boring. Who is bull posting? He's a part of Superstream UK and has building a neobank on Sol called Liminal Cash. Jack Marsh. Doesn't seems like he's posting anything about this meme coin. Jack Marsh. Oh, he has the Pump Fund live stream. How come he's not announcing it here? Maybe I need to scroll more. Okay. Building the 8% plus saving account today. Okay, so it is his coin. And he has an established Twitter account since November 2022. Yeah, that's pretty good for the project, for the doxed founder. Empower users to self-manage their assets self-custody and provide easy access to the crypto ecosystems through neobank integration. Yeah, so that's the narrative. He's building a bank and he is building another meme coin launched for that bank to intersect. Interesting that he's experimenting and he found even it's useful to create a meme coin for that. But a little bit convoluted, don't you think? Like a meme coin for the bank. Clanker Robot AI Slur 1 year ago. I looked at this one. Justice for KitKat, that's probably another one. 3.6 mil. Also launched today. They probably talking about how the other ones are fakes and they are the real ones, but this one has 17% only. ICE Data Cloud 8 months ago. The smart choice for digital services, 7.9 mil. Wow, look at this. Launched in beginning of the year, February 2025. Went down to absolute naked liquidity, frozen liquidity, 50k, 40k, 40. Anywhere lower than 40? No, 40 is the lowest. And now just boom, 8 mil. How is that possible? Did they forgot that they have a token and then came back and they're like, hey, let me buy? So 8 mil means roughly need to put 500 to 800 into the real money. Let's learn what it's about. The smart choice of digital service deployed. Okay, so they have a GitHub and we're gonna click on that GitHub. Jermaine majored in web scraping, web development, and machine learning. 7k followers. JeraPy, distributed crawler management framework based on Scrapid. I don't see. Where is his crypto project? Platform Acadel, the smart choice for digital services. Empower your work and life with the excellent standards of service. Start here. Our service. We have a variety of services to assist your work and life, include API, dataset proxies, Pico video generation, OpenAI generation, DeepSeek, Sora. What is this? Artificial intelligence model developed by, so like a storage of models. DeepSeek AI model supports powerful chat dialogue capabilities. Yeah, looks like a bunch of different models. Why choose us? Also, there's high stability. If they are offering models, then for some reason I don't see any advertising of models in the first sentences of their on their website. Very, very suspicious, to say the least. But it's just went from 40k to 8 mil. 40k to 8 mil. I just saw a sneak peek into the video that Jermaine was working on, and wow. I don't think already, I keep saying it's the very best I've seen. Since Star Voice, you have come disappointed. Guys, might want nothing of substance. Empower your work life best on AI and cloud, the smart choice of digital services. Ace Data Cloud. Is that a demo? Okay, we saw the models. So just a bunch of models on the website. I think that's it. Ace Data Cloud. Not anything interesting to me. $10 million revenue. They have revenue already? Okay, not interesting. Thank you guys for tuning in, and let's see on the next stream or next video.